This is a very powerful tool. I love it. And if you think about applying this to like a work context, say you get one of these marketing jobs, the company, like in the interview, I would ask, what are you guys doing in terms of AI? What's your AI policy? How do you enable and resource employees to use these tools to be more efficient in accomplishing what it is that your company is trying to deliver for your clients? Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Digital Ministry Podcast. My name is Nick, and I'm your host. I recently spoke at Taylor University to a group of students, sharing with them about AI, faith, and the future of work, and just recorded a Claude CoWork demo. Now, if you've heard about Claude CoWork, maybe seen this on YouTube, there's all sorts of great demonstrations out there that I would recommend because they're probably better than mine. But as I was finishing up this demo recording today, I thought this would be a great place to post a Claude CoWork demo. Now, if you're used to listening to the podcast on Spotify or audio only, I would encourage you to go to the YouTube channel at mii.global. You can find a link to our YouTube channel, or you can just search for the Digital Ministry Podcast on YouTube. And I'm going to publish this on the YouTube channel, and it's great to kind of follow along, subscribe there. But you can watch the screen share, which is an important part of a tech demo. So this is about 30 minutes where I just walk some Taylor students through building a Claude CoWork agent that will go out and identify their target companies. It sets up a scheduling tool to proactively search those company websites throughout the week, and every Monday morning send them a new job postings report. The idea here is that students graduating from college are looking for jobs. And so this is an agent that uses their resume, their background, their preferences, their interests, and finds jobs that match all of those details and surfaces them to the student so that they can spend time writing cover letters and resumes and interviewing rather than searching for new job listings. There's a whole set of files that I created for these students to kind of set up this conversation that I made available on my website, mediatractor.com. And I will post in the show notes a link to that website where you can go view the presentation, the PowerPoint deck that I created, and all of the demo files. So if you want to download Claude for Desktop and copy those demo files into a folder structure on your system and run this demo for yourself and play around with this, you're welcome to do so. It's all fake data. So a big important point is this is just a demo. It's all fake data, but you can follow along with the same file folder structure and markdown file creation that I'm demonstrating here for your own purposes. So I hope this is helpful. Again, there's all kinds of stuff like this on YouTube, but I kind of went like a step deeper and made a practical demonstration that applies to these Taylor students in a ministry context. And I think it'll be valuable for this audience as well. So please follow along on YouTube, and I hope you enjoy. Thanks. Hello, Taylor students. Hey, I wanted to start by saying thank you to everybody who showed up for the AI and the future of work presentation. It was great fun for me. I hope it was enjoyable and valuable for you. And as promised, I wanted to record a video on the Claude demo that we weren't able to get to. It's taken me a few days to get to this just because of some work stuff, but also I wanted to make sure that this is really good. So let's get started. We talked about ChatGPT, and hopefully some of you have already created your custom GPT. This is like, a search tool, but Claude CoWork is like a mentor. Claude CoWork is designed to really do some very specific Tasks. Everybody is familiar, should be familiar with how AI can tend to hallucinate. The beauty and the power of Claude CoWork is that you can create all of your structures and guidelines, and it works off of your desktop. It lives in your folders, and there's something called .md files. These MD files are really the instructions that you provide Claude. I've been building out a number of agents and CoWork tasks or projects, and for example, I set up a whole marketing agent, and I told it, here's my voice, here's my brand, here's my style guidelines. When I want to create something, I can give it kind of my source files, my data. Let's say it's a presentation. So I can create an outline for a presentation. Here's my key points. I can dump that into CoWork, and it will create a PowerPoint document for me that's completely branded according to my guidelines. It matches all my specifications. It matches my voice. It matches the voice of the company. It understands who my customer is because I've instructed it on all of those things through a .md file. So it's very powerful for that reason. We are going to do a demo that shows you how to set up CoWork to go out and do a job search. So let me share my screen here. So this is Claude Desktop. And I mentioned in the presentation that this is going to require a pro account. And I also said like it's worth just $100 a month for 1 month just to try it out. Um, Tell your parents you need $100 and tell them it's for education. I don't know. This is Claude. You've got chat, you've got CoWork, and you've got Claude Code. CoWork is what we're going to be working in. And the first thing to know is that whenever you use Claude CoWork, you can point it to whichever file folder you want it to work out of. So I'm going to say the demo job search, and you can see it's asking for permission. So I'm going to say always allow. Oh, it's adding. I see what's going on. It's adding. So this is rooted in a Claude. It's rooted in the Taylor University AI Talk folder. So this is the folder that it's pointing to. And I want to show you what an MD file looks like. So here I'm using Visual Studio Code, and I've created a example resume for a woman named Sarah Chin at Taylor University. So you can see like this is an about me file. So this is an important instruction here. Read this file every time you start. So if you downloaded the files that I put on my website, you're going to be able to see this. And if you don't have Visual Studio Code, this is what it looks like, this little icon on my Mac. Um, so download that. It's a free app. And this is great. You can do all your code editing here. So it talks about who I am. And again, you can personalize all this stuff. You can use it as a demo just as is, but personalizing it is obviously important for you and your own uses if you were going to build this same kind of tool. But the thing I want to just reiterate is that every time you point Claude CoWork to a folder, this claude.md file is going to be included. It's also accessible from, I'm just going to start this up. So whenever you start a session, it's going to show your working folders over here on the right side. And context, this is for like files or reference files that you want to drop in. So, it's referencing one of my, I mentioned this demo folder is in my root Claude context folder. So it already knows that I'm who I am because it's looking at those instructions first, and then it goes to this folder. But you can set up like who I am, what I'm looking for. So this is like what you want it to do. These are some of my strengths. These are my weaknesses, values, how I want you to work. So like these are really important. Be direct, no flattery. These are my preferences. You can make these anything you want. And these are living files. So if you start to like build out different projects in Claude CoWork and you're realizing, this thing's like a little too soft. I want it to be kind of more direct with me. You would come into this file, you would look at the how I want you to work section and you would say, something like this, be direct, no flattery, shoot me straight. Like you can use normal language and it will interpret what you mean. And so there's a how this folder works. So it just lists, some of the items that are in the folder. You talk about your weekly rhythm because we want this to set up like a job scheduling type of function as an agent. So I'm going to go back to Claude and it's an important or kind of like a good first step to just check and see if this folder is looking at the right place. And this will help you know if everything's connected correctly. So I've got these pre-created here. So let me copy and paste. So I'm going to say like what files are in my project. And it's going to tell me what's in there. Now what it's doing is it's referencing that folder that I showed you. So it says there's the instructions, there's the resume, and then there's application tracker that I created. So let's make sure it knows who I am. So I'm going to give it a next prompt. Tell me who I am. And it's thinking, and it should come back with a summary of Sarah Chin based on the briefing document that exists in that folder. So here you go. You're Sarah Chin. This is what you're looking for. So this is just all this is doing right now is it's kind of repeating back to us what we've asked it to do. Make sense? Okay. So the great thing about Claude, I mentioned in the presentation, it has this feature where you can upload skills. So let's create a fresh CoWork conversation here. Confirm that the files are the same. So it's Claude Context is my root folder, and then the +1 is the demo folder that I created. So there's something called the docx skill. So it already knows the resume and what kind of jobs I'm looking for. So I'm going to give it this prompt. Using the docs skill, write me a short thank you letter to a hypothetical interviewer named Jane Smith. Save it to my project folder. So here, a great feature of Claude CoWork is, I'm just going to expand this. I can go into any of my other tasks and work on something else. It'll keep running this in the background, and then I can come back to it later. Sometimes it takes a little bit of time like it is now, but it will go do this work for you, load these skills, accomplish the task while you're doing other things. So this is a real great kind of um, efficiency tool. Okay, so here we go. Here's another nice feature in Claude. So you can view your letter, you can show it in the folder. So if I click this, it'll show me where it is, but you can also reference it right inside of the CoWork tool. So here it'll give me a preview of the letter. Thanks for taking the time to meet with me yesterday. You know what? We haven't met with her yet. I know it's a hypothetical letter, but I'm going to show you how to make a change here. I haven't, we're meeting tomorrow. So I just said, I want to update the letter. I'm meeting with Jane tomorrow, but I want to like send her a note that will help kind of establish the conversation tomorrow. So let's see what it comes back with. And again, it's being informed by that instruction document, that Claude.md doc. All right, great. So now we're getting a prompt to, it's not going to change the files unless you allow it to. So I'm going to say allow and let it do that. In the meantime, I'm going to come over here and let's talk about the demo that we're doing. So I've got a couple of different folders that are rooted in here. So we've got cover letters, and we have some example companies. So Compassion International, Parkview, Salesforce. I've got a folder that has target companies. So let's look at these. Let's look at the Salesforce file. So this is my stretch target. Again, these are instructions to CoWork for how you want them to handle different things. So this is where you're not just relying on the AI to do everything. You need to do some of the work, and you need to make sure that you can ask Claude CoWork or using the chat tool to create these files for you, which is frankly pretty easy to do. But you should always come in here and then edit whatever you think is wrong or unnecessary. So, this is 75,000 employees. You know what? They just had a layoff. Let's change this to 65,000, just as an example. And then when I exit out of that, you want to save it. But now that Salesforce record will already be updated. And I've got instructions, briefing documents about each one of these target companies. So what CoWork is going to do is it's going to look at this instruction doc. It knows that your target companies are in here. There's a markdown file. That's what MD stands for every company. And so it's going to reference those whenever you're asking it to do something specific with that company. Now, this structure can be created for anything. So again, if you go back to my marketing example, like I've got a whole folder that's brand voice that's rooted, nested inside of my Mag Drive marketing CMO project folder. So if I'm doing anything around marketing, I go to that. The top level has instructions in the Claude file that says, here's what I want you to do. Here's how I want you to work. Here's my voice. For brand voice, for style guide, reference this subfolder. So that's what this structure looks like. So this structure that I'm showing you is very helpful really for anything that you want to do. So let's go back and we'll see if it updated this document correctly. And it did. Thank you for the opportunity to meet tomorrow. Okay, so this is all good. I think we're ready to go. So now what we want to do is we want to have this working on our behalf 24/7 as an agent. So I've told it what companies I'm interested in. I've told it about those companies. I told it about me. I've uploaded my resume. What I want this agent to do is to go out and constantly be looking at these company websites for new job postings. And I want to create a scheduled task that runs every morning at 6 a.m. and prepares a summary for me to read. It'll send me this summary and it'll tell me kind of what's happening with my target companies. So here's a prompt that I pre-created. Create a scheduled task that runs every Monday at 6 a.m. and prepares a summary of what's in my target companies folder. So I'm going to kick that off. And so what I'm expecting is CoWork to respond by creating a scheduled task. And then it'll give me a confirmation that that task has been created. So here it is creating a scheduled task and it used a skill. So see, this is the skill that it's being loaded. So I didn't even know the name of that skill. I didn't have to reference it. I just said what I wanted it to do. And it went out and it found the appropriate skill that it has access to. And then it's asking me, it loaded that skill into my instance. And now it's going to run this every Monday at 6 a.m. local time and give me a weekly summary. And then this is telling me what folder it's going to be in. So it's in the weekly reports, weekly target company summary folder. And if I go over here, that's going to exist here. And so here's my weekly job search report. So I can click in here and I can see what it's created for me. So this says 3 new strong opportunities this week. And it breaks it down. But what this is going to do is it's going to kick this out into a report that gets sent to me. I'm going to short circuit the thing because I'm not exactly sure what it's asking me. So it's going to follow my instructions in this way. Okay, so now we've got our weekly target companies report example for us. So it says run now worked, it says done. Three companies in the pipeline. And this is again referencing the three companies that I have as MD files in my target companies folder. So I go here and it says, here's my report for May 1st. Three companies in the folder, top one or two to focus on this week. So it's directing me based on everything that I've told it. Here's where you should focus. So Compassion International is number one. Digital Ministry Coordinator. That sounds like a great job. That's a wonderful entry point. So Salesforce is worth pursuing. So it's on here as well. Gives me a little bit about like my active pipeline. So it's keeping track of the job posting date, submit the strongest cover letter, that we have for Compassion International. This is suggesting that we do a direct message to the CEO. For Salesforce, it's suggesting some people that I connect with on LinkedIn, or I ask Professor Hendricks for a warm introduction. Because again, in those MD files, we told it that we have a professor at school who has some kind of existing relationship with somebody at Salesforce, so it's referencing that. Um, but here's the thing. This is a pretty good report, but it's all operating off of fake data. So let's enhance this a little bit. So I put in just a question because I'm not really sure. And to be honest with all of you, uh, I wasn't sure if it could do this. So I said, are you able to go out and look at job listings on these company websites to see if there's a new posting since the last time you searched? And it says, yes, I can do that. Let me run it now. And it did. And then it came back with, here's an honest report and what I can and can't see. So Compassion International is hosting on Workday all of their job postings. So this is a JavaScript app. So what it's telling us is that when it goes out and it looks at Compassion International's job postings, it's just getting a blank page, but it gives me an example or um, a suggestion rather. So it's telling me that where is it? Oh, down here. So there's an in-browser tool. So if you're using Google Chrome, you can add the Claude plugin, and I've done this on other projects. You add that plugin extension for Claude, and then it will launch a browser, and you watch it while it does it. In this case, it'll launch a browser. You can give it permissions to do it on its own, as long as your computer is open and running, and it'll go through and it'll use a browser to manually um, manual is probably the wrong word here, but like Claude will control your browser and it'll click through Compassion's website and kind of scrape the data off there to put it into the report. In other cases, it will surface like with Salesforce. It'll say, "Here's two real marketing positions that showed up and are worth a look." So I didn't put these into any of the source files. It went out and found these just now. I did have a job reference that was active back when I created this presentation, and it's also identifying that's no longer there. It may have been filled or the position may have been pulled, so it's worth confirming. And then the other bit of information that I'm getting here is like Park View. Like this is a kind of a made up thing. I don't have really good instructions in there. So if you get a result like this back, you might need to go back and look at your Park View or your equivalent MD file and improve that. One of the things that I would do is, let me just show you. So if my target company Park View is in here, I would say, you know what? Let's website. So I'll point it to the right website to look at. And actually, we might just say career. Again, this is a fake example, but you would do something like this to help improve the instructions. So when I exit out of there, I hit save. Now that's a fake website. Like I just made that up, But in your real use case, you would want to go say, okay, this is a target company. I haven't given it enough instructions to know what to do. So let me improve the instructions so that it'll work better next time. And that's a really important point. This is like a living kind of iterative process. So you can improve this agent over time, which is why I said if you download the files that I gave you on my website, don't just use them as if they're going to work. It's just dummy data. The whole purpose of this is to show you how this can work if you set it up correctly. Okay, so now for the next thing, let's start a new task, and I'm going to say you're my job search coworker. Start by reading Claude MD and every file in target companies. Then give me a one paragraph summary of who I am, what I'm looking for, your top recommendations, where I should focus this week, not just a copy and paste of what you read. So what this is doing is it's reading the files, it's synthesizing all of the instructions, and it's produces a coherent kind of a "I'm your teammate" response. And this is telling it, in addition to what I said before, it's like how we want it to act. This is just to recap what we've done. We've built out a file folder in Claude. We've talked about how to give it instructions to behave the way that you want it to. We've talked about building subfolders. In this case, in this example, we've got a folder that houses cover letters. We've got a folder that has target companies with MD files and for each one of those companies that can be improved over time as you learn more information about your company. And that's research that you should be doing in every case before you apply to any job. And we've got it set up with a scheduler to send us a weekly report about new job listings. And we're asking Claude to use what it knows about me and match that up with potential listings that have been newly delivered that week to surface to me which ones it thinks I would be a good applicant for. So, one last thing that I asked it to do is to create a applications uh, database is probably the wrong word, but it's basically like a file where I can keep track of my stuff. So as I'm applying to different companies for different roles, uh, I can track the date that I applied, the role I applied for, the location of that job, where I found it, the status. So I can go back in here and update the status. And this is where kind of online and offline from Claude starts to blend together. So Claude's not going to know unless you take the extra steps to have it like search your email all the time, which I wouldn't recommend right now. But if you get a rejection letter, you can go in here and you can update this Excel spreadsheet. Say, okay, for this job, I got rejected. For this one, I did the phone screening, so you can come in here and kind of keep track of your job search progress as you're doing it. I had Claude create this tracking spreadsheet for me, but here's the great thing. It lives in the Claude folder right here. So I don't have to log into the spreadsheet every time. On Monday morning, when I get my report, if I just want to give it an update for what happened in the last week, so I log in to Claude on Monday and I say, hey, go update my, let's look at this, Alpha USA. So we'll go in here and we'll say, I heard back. They offered me a job. Can you update my application tracking spreadsheet? So look how encouraging Claude is, congratulating me. So that's huge. Alpha is one of the with the campaign coordinator role, so it's referencing that spreadsheet and it's creating the update for me. So I don't have to go in and manually do that. I can have Claude do the update for me. Of course, you would probably want to go and look at the spreadsheet afterwards and confirm that it did it correctly. You should always just confirm. And this is called human in the loop processing. And so, like, it's important to, I think at this stage, both of your experience, but also with AI maturity, I'm not yet comfortable to just give it free rein on everything and let it go operate on my behalf. So the agent's already doing a lot, but it's checking back in with me and it's saying, here's what I've done. Can you confirm? So in this case, it's saying, here's what I changed in the tracker, offer received. Now, before you celebrate too hard. So this is great. Like I didn't create any of this. Now it's starting to proactively coach me on how to engage with that company. This is great. So I really like this because I didn't set any of this up. So it's predicting what the next steps would be because this is a fairly common use case, and it's saying, let's talk about comp package and response deadlines and what's the role look like. So this is a really good coach. So all right, and look at the update. So I've got a bright dark green offer received, and it highlighted the whole row just to make it stand out in the tracker. So you could also go on and ask it to, you could use the same scheduling tool, just tell it what you want it to do. I want you to give me every Friday afternoon, um, like a PDF or give me a report. You don't even have to describe what you specifically what you want. Give me a report on my application tracker and help me know where I am throughout the week. You can connect it to like your Google Calendar, and you can say, uh, schedule a meeting, standing meeting every Friday afternoon on my Google Calendar at this time. Set the reminder so that I can come in and update the agency tracker with or with the applications tracker with what happened that week. And then you know that it'll run the job search thing again on Monday. So over the weekend, you don't have to be kind of thinking about all the work that you have to do on Monday. You've given it the update for the week, and you know on Monday morning you're going to get kind of the next batch of appropriate job applications that you should consider. So this is a very powerful tool. I love it. And if you think about applying this to like a work context, say you get one of these marketing jobs and the company, like in the interview, I would ask, what are you guys doing in terms of AI? What's your AI policy? How do you enable and resource employees to use these tools to be more efficient in accomplishing what it is that your company is trying to deliver for your clients? And you're going to get a whole range of responses to something like that. But if you're able to say, let me show you what I've built that helped me get this job, and I think there's application here, as I understand your company and the processes, I think I can help you automate some of these things that we're doing at this marketing agency that would be a benefit both to you and the client and help me work more productively and efficiently after I'm hired. That type of interview question and response is going to stand out like a white hot light in a dark room. Job interviewers, the hiring managers, your future boss, they're going to say, oh, this person is really coming with valuable skills that I didn't have to teach them. And they can maybe even have an opportunity to teach the rest of my company and employees and help us get up to speed. So I hope this is a valuable demo of just kind of some of what's possible, how you would build something like this. These are iterative tools. You build them over time. They evolve as you get more information. And this is why judgment and perspective cannot be outsourced. You bring the judgment and the perspective into your job, into your career, into the AI, and you put these tools to work for you in a way that's valuable, not only for you, but also for whoever it is that you're working for or with. So I've really enjoyed doing this. I hope that it's been valuable. I've had several emails from many of you over the past week just thanking me for my time, which I'm happy to do, but also connections on LinkedIn. Like I'm always happy to stay in touch. And then even some students have said, hey, I'm working on this. Like, what do you think about, this perspective, or I want to take this approach, or how do I get started? Like, I'm open for questions. So thank you very much. God bless you. Finish the year strong. I know you're in the final weeks. Enjoy the last few days on campus before summer. God bless you all.